Sheika Gramshammer flashes her million-watt smile, calls you darling, and the world is a warmer place. Ask anyone where Sheika and Peppy Gastaf Gramshammer is located, and they'll say in the heart of Vail. And for over 50 years, that's what Sheika has been, the heart of Vail. Vail has embraced Sheika, and Sheika embraced Vail like no one else. Sheika was born in Austria, lived in Switzerland, worked as a model in Paris, and immigrated to Las Vegas in 1959 as a performer. She was part of an opening act for the Rat Pack, Frank Sinatra, Dean Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., Joey Bishop, and Peter Lawford. When the show went back to Paris, Sheika wanted to stay in the U.S., and so she did, landing work as a model in New York for some of the world's most elite labels. Eventually, she headed to Aspen to visit a girlfriend and learn to ski. It was here where she would meet her future husband, Peppy, in November of 1962. He was a professional ski racer and was training on the pro circuit. Together with several others, they formed what is now known as Vail, one of the greatest ski towns in the world. Sheika believes, above all else, you have to believe in yourself and love yourself whole. She is the female impact. I believe one of the most powerful gifts you can share is your story. Sharing your story to be a beacon of light for others, empower change, and connect to the bigger world around you. This is how we heal. Everyone has a story worth sharing. These are the beautiful stories inspired by badass women and their lasting legacy. This is the Female Impact. Hi, it's Liz Logan with the Female Impact, and today I am with one of my favorite people, actually a new friend in my life, but a very dear friend that I consider. Sheika Gramshammer is here, and we are just gonna dive in because you have such a colorful life. I love talking to you. Every time you just bring a warm smile to my face. So thanks for being here.
Well, I'm happy to be here.
I'm so glad you are.
I'm also being here to see you. Let's put it this way.
I love it. I love it. Sheika has become a really dear, dear friend of mine. And I wanted, so many people in Vail know you. I mean, we call you the Queen of Vail, really. You run this town, you own this town. Your smile electrifies this town. Everyone knows your hotel, Peppy's, and you have had single-handedly probably the most impact as a female in our town. It's truly my belief that people you don't even know are impacted by your grace, your generosity, your welcoming, your hospitality,
God.
right?
That sounds like the Sound of Music. Yeah.
Well, you kind of are the Sound of Music. But take everybody back for a second, because I gave a brief intro before this on your life, but you're from Europe.
I'm from Austria. I'm born in Austria and grew up there until I was 16, and then went to Switzerland, and then on to Paris, Germany, Paris, and then to America. So here I am in Vail, Colorado.
And you've been here for a really long time.
And the first I came here is because of Peppy, who I met in '62 at Thanksgiving in Aspen, and he invited me to come to Vail to the opening.
Smart guy.
Well, I guess it was smart.
He was very smart.
But I think it was smarter for me to say yes to come here, because after that, we just came here for Christmas, and I never left.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it just became a love story. Out of a friendship became a love story, and we were married for 57 years. So.
Amazing. And really your marriage developed in the heart of Vail Village, where you guys opened your hotel and restaurant, and then ski shop, and then there was a nightclub, and I mean there was so many parts to your business here in Vail. What would you say? I mean, did you come from a hospitality background? Did you guys know what you were doing?
Not really. My father used to have it in, long during the war and so forth. But that has nothing to do. It just happens by coincidence that when Peppy and we met and I came to Vail, and we decided that's where Peppy wanted to live, and we want to get married, and we want to make a home here, which both of us didn't have. We both grew up with a grandparent, with a grandmother, and during the war. So it was different. So we decided, well, it's the beginning of Vail, why not?
Right.
And Peppy got an offer to buy some land, which we couldn't refuse. And so then we got married, and we thought we're going to build where we have our land now. So we thought we're just going to build and make a little chalet. And since I was in fashion, I do the fashion, and Peppy's in skiing. We have a ski shop, and together we're going to live ever happily afterward. And so when we presented the plan, do Vail Resort, they said, because Vail Blanche had a 5-year exclusive for Peppy's shop.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So, but at that time, you see, we had to build in Vail within 1 year in the heart of Vail, because they didn't want any people just speculate on that one. So what are we going to do? I said, well, I know how to make beds. I know how to cook a goulash and spaghetti, and let's see how we do.
That's
and
amazing.
So we turned our plans around from a shop to a little restaurant. And Peppy was still at that time pro racing and also representing different ski companies, well, Kneisel Ski, then Head Ski, and different companies.
That's what
that was our livelihood. And our beginning, while he was out there doing his sales pitch, I was at home working on getting ready with the help at that time with Vail, because we all were founders of Vail, each one individually in their own rights. And it was a wonderful growing up experience, learning from people who already know a lot and become friends with them, and then make your nest like that.
Well, and really, you guys single-handedly put Vail on the map. Vail was just getting started when Vail Resorts, but it was Vail Associates that brought Peppy on as a pro skier. And Peppy went all over Europe and really the world promoting Vail as the place to be. And you guys are experiencing, this was before Vail had cobblestone heated streets, and
tell me about that.
So you grew up in a time where you're in Vail and there's dirt streets, and you're hitching your horses up against the bars and the restaurants, right?
Because the shepherd who was herding the sheep, he brought his horse down to go shopping, his groceries, and he just put the horse there, Peppy's by the porch there, just put it on, went over to the city market, or not city market, whatever, the food store, and got his food back on the horse, and off he went.
That's so amazing. So imagine our village, if you haven't been to Vail, for those of you watching, Vail Village is this quaint and quintessential, beautiful replica of a European village, in my opinion. And the center of this village is really where you guys started. It is the mothership hub of Vail Village. And so now it's very fancy and it's very grown up. But back in the day, they're literally putting their horses on the side hitch posts and going about their business and starting to make a life, right?
Well, it was, like I said, dusty streets. And it was just the beginning of, but the great thing is that it was a boundary of a family. It wasn't individuality of a family here, family there, or families, around. It became one family, and we all had the same kind of goal and love to make Vail something really special, where people can come here and raise their children here and find a new home. Like Peppy and me, we had no home before that, and so for that was a home. And the way we both were embraced by the founders, the 5 couples who found Vail, which is Christy Hill and Dick Hauserman, who really were responsible, for Vail, for Peppy to come to Vail because of Sun Valley when they met. And the Parkers and the Seiberts. These people really brought us up. I would say they were the foundations for our being in Vail and for creating, with their help, what we created. So they gave us a home, a foundation, and we gave back what we have been giving back, Peppy's.
Which to me is truly, I have to say this, it is the heart of Vail. I mean, you brought
Yeah.
the heart. I feel like
is.
you and Peppy, with your European ways, you know, the embrace that you feel when you sit on Peppy's porch or when you walk into the hotel, it's an amazing feeling every single time. And you guys created that.
Yeah.
Before
it is. And I think the heart of Vail, you said it, I really feel Peppy was the heart of Vail, because he also, not only was he the heart of Vail, but he has a heart. He loved everybody, and everybody loved him. And because of the way he was, he made me a little bit more like he, you know, more caring, more opening, more loving, you know.
So would you say, when you look at the two of you, because I always think you're definitely a power couple, right? So you both have super strong work ambitions and just how you present yourself in the world. You're your own individual selves.
Yeah.
And so when you came together, it became this power couple of Peppy is strong in who he is, you're strong in who you are, and together you can do anything, in my opinion. And you have so much in Vail. What would you say, when you first got together, how did you show up in the marriage versus Peppy? Like, were you more of the strong one and he was more of the heart, or how would you describe?
I don't know how to describe. It's just knowing that, you know, that we had to build something, that we cannot just sit on an empty land, we had to build. So when I came up with the idea, why not build like a bed and breakfast, like we have at home, Gasthof, means house for guests. And it's more a restaurant versus a couple rooms on top of it. And so we decided, yes, and then, well, what are we going to name it? First we said we're going to call it the Tyrolean Inn, or other names, Hotel Tyrol, and we decided to call Gasthof Gramshammer, and use Gramshammer because I was very proud of what Peppy, who he was, and what he created with his life. So I told him, I said, why don't we just use and call it the Gasthof Gramshammer, because then we really have to keep an eye on that name, okay? Or make it good, and make it sure it sticks out, okay?
That's so smart.
And with his personality and his love for people and his love for life, we created that kind of a Austrian atmosphere, which we started out calling Gemütlichkeit. And gemütlich means the Austrian comfort, and the American, the facilities we didn't have in Austria, we have here.
I love it. I love it. And there's been so many, over the years, so many well-known, recognized names that have come through.
Oh, at the beginning, a lot,
And so how did you guys, I mean, was that a draw that I don't think you went out and tried to say, oh, I hope all these famous people come. So how did that unfold?
I think it started out because of Dick Hauserman skiing Sun Valley, Dick and Blanche Hauserman, skiing in Sun Valley. And then I think because of him in Sun Valley, getting to know some of the Hollywood people, the business people, or whatever. And I think I know at that time, our first guests were the mayor from New York, there was Barbara Streisand, there was Rock Hudson. You know, they started because of Sun Valley, and we had some people from Sun Valley, like Ronnie Balcom and Lulu, they were Sun Valley crowd, and Ray Stark, you know, made Barbara Streisand famous. So they started coming to Vail because they wanted to find out what Vail is all about it, because they are Sun Valley people. And because of Dick Hauserman, they wanted to check out Vail, okay?
Got it.
And with them, of course, you know, Barbara Streisand was the first one. When they started coming, or Kirk Douglas, they started coming in slowly and bringing just for checking up, and then realize it, what a sleeping beauty Vail is, and how different. So it started more and more, and then I think the really high reason for that we all know that is President Ford. He put Vail on the map, you know. Before it was just, and I remember when I used to go to New York to do pieing for the shop then, where's Vail? Oh, it's between them and husband. And after President Ford was in office, they said, oh, you're from Vail. That's the Western White House. So
the Western White House.
So it just took, you know, it's not just took one or the two people.
Right.
It took a community, and that's what we had.
Right.
We had a community that stood behind the people who came here, were part of the name here. And
But
then,
I also say that when you build that, when you really get the close-knit community and like-minded people come together, there's an energy that attracts people.
It was amazing.
You know?
Yeah.
And yes, let's give a lot of credit to Pepe, but honestly, you are one of the most intriguing women that I certainly have ever known. And, you know, no shy of any color, you know, you're full of color. And that's one of the things that I think really, really helped, that I always say behind every strong man is a stronger woman.
Yeah.
And that is you to a T.
Well,
And
you know, we made each other. You know, he had his strength, I had my strength.
Absolutely.
And my strength was just having a good time and liking people and meeting people. I met a lot of people when I was in Vegas. I met a lot of people which started coming here to Vail.
Right.
When I was in Los Angeles, I met a lot of people when I lived in New York. So through that, and besides, you know, being young,
and gorgeous.
And having a good, I don't know about
and
that.
gorgeous. So let's back up for a second, because you actually came to America for modeling.
No, I came from Paris to Vegas with the show.
With this show.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then after the show went back, I stayed on showgirl dancer.
Showgirl.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the show went back, and then I got a contract with Frank Sinatra with the Ratbacks. So I stayed another 3 months. And then
Pause for a second. What was that like?
Oh, that was fun. It was different. It's so different when you describe then in 1959 and now 2020. I mean, it's just at that time Vegas was a small town, really much, but full of action. But you had opportunities that people today would never have again to meet this kind of people. Like at that time, you remember, if it was Nan King or Lena Horne or Louis Armstrong, they were just around. They were just singers.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and for us, they were good singers.
Right.
But they were very famous here. But still, they were limited to what they are, you know.
But to be in the presence of Frank Sinatra and Nat King Cole and Louis Armstrong, my gosh, right?
But you know, it didn't sound my gosh at that time.
At that time,
because
it was just
we really
normal.
didn't know how important they are.
Got it.
You know, when you're European or you're young and you come over here, oh, that's him. Or, oh my God, he sounds really better than on the record, or whatever.
Right.
I think when you're young, you don't realize it. Who do you meet or what? With age, with time, you start respecting what they are giving. Before you take so many things for granted, which of course we all have done one way or the other, you know, and still do.
I'll never forget, I went around the world in college on semester at sea, and we got to South Africa, and every port would come on and do a lecture for us about their country. And Nelson Mandela came on our ship.
Yeah.
And I was in my 20s, and I knew the impact of him, but it was even before the real big impact of who Nelson Mandela was. And so I mean, I remember holding on to his every word and getting a picture. But even now, to your point of what you're saying, now I look back on that moment going, gosh, I wish I would have grabbed him and pulled him in a corner and just been like, wow, this is such a moment in time, right? So there are moments like that. Who do you feel like, though, because you go into your hotel, you go into the bar now, and there's so many beautiful pictures of people that have come to embrace your presence, really, I think, to contribute to the King and Queen of Vail.
Yeah.
Who are some of your favorite people that have come through?
You know, it depends on the day. I don't know. There's everybody on my wall, at Pepe's on my wall, on our wall. The pictures we have on our wall are people we know, we shook hands with. It isn't just that I was running after them, can I have your autograph?
No.
It was something we know. But with that time, I already know who they are, or heard about it, or got to know them and respect them. There are some people I've met who are big stars or big, but I don't like them.
Right.
Or if I don't like them, why would I have to put them on the wall?
Right.
So every one of them who is on our wall between Pepe and mine is we really respect and love them.
You have a relationship with
I have, exactly, with my eyes.
Right, with
and
your
it's
heart.
so funny that right now, over the time being, and you see some of them are not around anymore, and all of a sudden now you go through this picture frame, this gallery of pictures, photos, arts, and you start remembering things, what happened. And you stay in front of it and say, oh my God, I wish I would have got to know him a little better. Or I wish I would have asked him more questions.
Yeah,
or
that's what I was saying about Nelson Mandela.
It's just, you're right, and that's what's all about it. For me now, that wall is almost a security blanket.
Right.
It makes me feel good.
Right.
To say that, look what I've done with myself.
Right.
Look what Pepe and I have achieved, coming from poverty, really during the war, there were everybody, you know, and all the things. And then through the help of friends to create something like that. It just, I'm still in awe.
Absolutely.
But even more so now, when I look back, that how many people are now coming to Vail who are VIPs or the stars, or we never meet.
Right.
Because they're in their shells or they're in their homes.
Right.
They're in this time and age, when we were there, you know, we could say hello to somebody. And it was the same thing like with President Ford. He walked down the street on Bridge Street, and people went over, Mr. President, may I shake your hand? Right. And of course, you can do, you know, things have changed.
Yeah. It's funny because, so my grandparents had a condo in East Vail growing up, so we would come in the summers. And I remember, I mean, I think I was no more than 7, and I remember going to the parade, the 4th of July parade, and Frank Sinatra being, I mean, not Frank Sinatra, President Ford being on your patio, always waving, you know, all the, and it was just, that was just common. Yeah. That was just a very common experience.
No, we have, Vail had some great, even in the early days when President Ford had this golf tournament, we had Clint Eastwood here, Sammy Davis Jr., John Denver. You know, we had all these, Red Skelton came, and God, so many of them.
Right.
Mike Douglas, you know, they just came because he attracted the name President, started coming in. And then they start checking out Vail and saying, oh, it's not so bad after all.
Right, exactly, buying homes and whatnot.
It's not so bad after all, like Pepe always says.
Exactly, it's not so bad. So you are one of the most remarkable leaders I do know as a woman. I feel like you have paved your way in this world beyond. What, to your point, you know, you look at your life in awe, going, wow, I can't believe that I've done this, right? With the help of course, of many, but you're a pioneer. And as a woman, I feel like we need more women like you to rise up and to lend a voice or a hand or expertise. Yeah. So tell me, do you have any, you know, theme or motto that you've lived by that has helped inspire you to be the best version of yourself?
I don't know. I just think my way of inspiring myself, believe in yourself, trust yourself, and I think the most important thing for anybody, love yourself. Because if you can love yourself and what you're doing, and you're proud in what you're creating, then you give that on to other people. And you let them feel this way. Right. And I think that's why I have friends who like me, because I believe in myself and they believe in me, and vice versa.
Right.
And that just makes it go round.
You lead with your heart. There's no question about that.
But you have to believe in yourself so you can believe in other people.
That's such an important, please take note from the Queen. That is honestly, I teach that all the time in my coaching, that you can go external and try to fix anything out there, but until you really hone in on what's going on inside and you get to a place where you can find that love, I always say have a love affair with yourself. Because it catapults the possibility for your life to grand proportions. As we've witnessed, my favorite people are the ones that have found that self-love and go on to do tremendous things with their lives. That's the gift.
Yeah.
And when people come in contact with you, it's so apparent that that's how you live your life, because you are radiating this huge, colorful aura that goes everywhere with you. And you know that. I mean, her smile lights up a room. So it's a tremendous, that's a very, very well said. Were there any women that influenced your life?
Oh yeah, there are still now.
Still now.
You know, there are a lot of women influence, and I enjoy women who really, you know, made themselves too strong with their own rights, in their own things, and all. There are a lot of women in my life, what crossed my life and all that, I tried to copy.
Is there anyone
It doesn't
in particular?
work so well.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't
doesn't work so well. But at least I learned a little bit from here, a little bit from there. You know, it's fine. But I would say I don't have anybody particular. The only one I had particular was my grandmother. Because she taught me she gave me the foundation. If you cannot look in the mirror and look in your own eyes, then there's something wrong with you. And whatever people say, you have to make sure that you learn from it or accept it. When I accept my life, I accept friends, every friend. I accept people as long as they're good and honest and caring. I accept them. There was no differences in ups and downs. And I think that was very important in the early days of Vail, because we were such a different mixture of people. We were ones, the founders, and then the working bees, the queen bees, the king bees, and the working bees. And there was no difference in high, low. There was just a dream for everyone to be part of it.
I love it. I love it. What do you feel like the world needs more of right now?
Communication. I think communication at home with your children, communication with your friends, communication in your family, communication.
That's why I'm doing this story series, honestly.
I think that's the secret of life. Communication and honest about it.
Yeah, we've moved away from communication on a lot of levels because of the social media impacts and the way that we're now communicating. You know, the world is a much smaller place on a lot of levels, but from the standpoint of what you're talking about, that connection of communication, that's what I certainly crave every day in my life, to be able to sit with someone brilliant like yourself. And that's where I think your hotel was such a beautiful flourishment for that, because people would come in, whether for dinner or for morning breakfast, and you got to sit and communicate. It was a way of connecting.
But you see, you just said the social media. This is going to be our life now. And I feel myself lucky that I was in America in a time being where at home we had problems communicating, and I came to America and there was an open space. Everybody was somebody here. You know, there was a way of touching, communicating. Like you just said, you're a hugger. I am a hugger, because hugging means you care. But the problem it is now, we don't even talk on the phone anymore. It's all texting. Well, how can I read from a text that you just cried your eyes out? But if I call you and you answer the phone, I can hear it in your voice, hey, what's the problem with you? So there we're already losing communication among friends, among the thing on it, because everything is becoming, I call it a jellyfish. It's just above the surface. There's very little going down to the roots.
There's no context anymore.
There is none. You just move.
And you can get away with that. You can get away with that superficial way of moving through life, like you're referring to as the jellyfish, until you can't. Eventually, I think it catches up with you, whether it's through depression or whether it's through heartache. At some point, you get to a place and you look and go, my life is pretty empty, you know, and that doesn't serve you to go long term that way. I think a lot of people are going to get to that point. Even now, younger people are trying to live in a world that's much different than the one even I grew up in, certainly the one that you grew up in. And they're searching for, how do I communicate in a world that isn't pick up the phone, and listen to me cry. It isn't, let me see you face to face. You know, it's funny because I love my mom and my grandmother even, but they were like, you call me every single day. I want to hear your voice and I want to know what's going on. And that's what we need more of right now, for sure.
But, you know, how can we do that? But my advice to a lot of my young people, friends, children, my friends, I say, it takes a minute a day to make one phone call.
Yeah.
And all to say, how are you today? Oh, well, of course, then they go on and on and on. But then you know how to stop. But at least I will never forget the first, I have every week, I have 5 people to call in my calendar. And years ago, I started with that kind of a thing, is to call friends, which I haven't talked. On the first, I never forget when I called this particular person, a small conversation, and they said, what can I do for you, Sheika? I said, oh, you can do nothing for me. I just sitting here and I wonder how you are because I miss you.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, she said, she couldn't believe it, that I was calling her without asking for favor or without asking, just to want to know, how you doing?
You do that to me.
And that made, and that was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And that made me so happy the way she accepted and then talked, that I made a habit then that I write in my calendar every week, somebody which I have no contact with it.
I love it.
Or a little contact with it, just to say once in a while, hey, how's it going?
I'm thinking about you.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, I now do that actually.
And I think the young people need to start doing that. Instead of texting, just pick up and say, hi Sarah, what are you doing right now?
Right, right.
And that is opening up, put your foot in the door and see what comes out of it.
Right. It's a great concept. I actually started doing that on walks, especially now. But I'll go on a walk at the end of my day when I need to decompress, moving from work to personal life. And I'll go on a walk and I always call somebody that I haven't talked to that week. Similar to what you're talking about.
It works. And I bet you they're happy.
But that, and it fills you up too. So it's this reciprocity of both ways where we need that. We need connection with each other. We cannot lose that. We have to have it. We have to.
Now more so the way what is going on now. I think we need now more so to keep in touch verbally, and just for a short time, because everybody carries a cross. It depends which way, back in the front or where, that there's somebody there who just cares about it, just out of hello, how are you?
Absolutely.
Or nothing more with it.
Absolutely. You have no idea the impact that makes. So do that. Do as Sheika says and do that. Implement that in your life.
It works, okay?
It really, really works. So I use these 2 words a lot in what I do in my life. And one is badass and one is beautiful. So to me...
What's a badass?
A badass is you. I was just going to say that. But so to me, I was just going to explain. A badass is... It's somebody that goes after things. It's somebody that's strong and stands in their conviction of who they are. It's you know, a little bit of the masculine flex of like, I can go up and ski that mountain and take it, and I can, you know, whatever.
That's completely different than when I call somebody a badass. I don't want anything to do with you.
Okay, well, this is a good badass. That's an asshole. sorry if there's kids watching. That's different. But a badass to me is this masculine energy. And then the beautiful is the feminine energy, right? The compassion, the open heart, the understanding, the communication we were just talking about. The badass is more of the go after it, get tough, go after it, do the grind, do the work. So very much when I think about your life, how you present yourself, you are such a strong woman. That to me is the badass part of you. It's a good thing. It's a very big compliment. And the beautiful is the fact that you can still be a strong woman and electrify this energy about you that's soft and welcoming and compassionate. So my question was going to be, when you think of the words badass and beautiful, if you can get your head around that, and you may not be able to, but what comes to mind for you when you think of those 2 words?
You see, I don't know what the answer to that one, because badass, beautiful. What comes to my mind? I don't know. What should come to my mind?
Whatever you think of. When you think of, it's kind of like grit and grace. how those two words, do you know grit? Like
No.
hard work. So hard work and then grace.
I know grit, what you eat.
Those are grits. That's from the South. Well, so let me ask you a different way. So,
That better do it, because
so
I have no answer
do you
to that.
consider yourself, would you say that you're more on the grind it out and work hard and get your list? You know, you've got that European, Austrian, I'm
Yeah.
German, so I have that in me as well. Or would you say that you're more on the spectrum of compassion and motherly and nurturing?
Oh, heavens, no. No. Yes, I'm motherly. I have 2 kids, so that they don't call me motherly whatsoever. I love them dearly. They're great children, but, you know, for them, maybe they would say the badass to me. No, what I think, what I am more, I'm a believer, but there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
I just have to find the way. But if I want something, I'm really trying to my best, to my ability to get it. If I can't, and I see it's not gonna work, I'm not afraid of stepping back.
I love that.
But if I think I can go ahead and get it, oh yeah, I'm gonna try everything I can. And I always have been. And I think that is why both Pepe and I became, in our own ways, you know, successful in business and in all, because we don't give up.
You don't
We
let
were
no
fighters.
stop you.
When we know we are wrong, we admit to be wrong.
Right.
But when we are right, oh boy, don't teach me that I'm wrong, or to tell me. I wait till I can prove it to you.
I love it. I love it. So well said. So finish this statement. I want to be.
What I want to be.
What do you want to be? When you think of that statement, I want to be, just fill that blank in. I want to be what?
I want to be me. I love it. I love me because I have surrounded myself with what I love, my friends, my home, my family, Vail. There's no, I mean, I want to come back as me again if I die.
What better gift? I want to come back as you too.
So I had a good life, huh?
If we could all, I'm in tears, but if we could all step into our life that fully and that completely, that's the statement that we say, I want to be me, that is the whole flipping point. Thank you.
Thank you
for being here.
Thank
I love you.
I love you
I'm so
too.
grateful
Thank
to
you.
have you in my
Really,
life. I'm
thank
so
you.
grateful the world gets
Well,
to.
thank you for opening the door and let me get into your life, okay?
Of course. My heart is wide
I
open.
got a big foot, you know, shoe size 10. Boy, you opened the door and quickly I went in there, didn't I?
Until next time, this is the Female Impact. For more on Sheika, you can certainly Google her, and we'll leave some information on her lodge and restaurant below. Thanks for watching.